there's been such a lot of transformations that have happened. And first of all, I want to say I don't take it for granted. I take nothing for granted that happens in my sessions in the therapy room or outside of it, to be honest. I leave each client and their system to guide what I do. So, when something happens, I'm really quite amazed. So, some stories, let's say. One thing that's really was just a wonderful happening for me, and for me it was quite a miracle, if you like, although lots of people don't talk in terms of miracles. I have a client who has a particular syndrome. I forget what it's called. She tells me quite often that I forget it, but it doesn't matter. This syndrome causes her to become disassociated in such a way that she doesn't feel like she's in her body. She will sit with you and I, and she will actually not feel as though she's here. She can touch something and not feel the substance of that thing. So glass, rocks, all of this don't feel any different. She can't feel them properly. So after the first session, she had phoned me and she was really excited. She wanted another session because it was the first time in 6 years that she actually could feel present in her body. And it was coming on and off, but that wasn't the point. It was the first time in 6 years that she could actually feel the presence. And when I last saw her, she'd been out and she was present in her body, and she could actually feel the rocks, that she was out rock climbing. So she can actually feel that. So that was amazing for me because I didn't know that was going to happen. Her system needed whatever it was. I just brought about that with her, brought about that happening. Then I had a surfing lady, young surfer, beautiful young lady who wanted to keep surfing, and she was extreme sport. I advise people not to do it personally, but you know, apparently it's fun. She had had an accident and one of her legs was actually shorter than the other. And whilst I was doing a session with her, her leg grew. I could feel the bones growing under my hands, and she could feel them. And when she finished the session, they were actually the same. So she'd had operations and things, but they were the same length. So that I did act very cool, as if it was something that happened all the time, I have to say, because I would have been jumping about going, oh my God, how amazing is that? Not so professional. So that was an amazing thing. I've had clients who have needed money, and it's something, it's a reality for all of us in this world, let's face it, that material need is there. So I had one client who was desperately in need of money, and she had come to me and been talking about how she couldn't pay some bills, how she really needed this. She was going to have to leave this country actually at the time, it was that dire. And she was given money that evening. Someone repaid her. The next day she got money as gifts. So she actually manifested more than she needed. It just came. So wonderful things happen. I have a lot of people who come to me who are grieving and who want some kind of sign from the other side, if you like. Mothers who have lost their children, people who have lost their parents or their partners. And with that, I have to say there's always a process. I don't try to get someone to suddenly take away the grief, because it's appropriate. If you've lost a child, if you've lost a partner, there's an appropriate process in which to go through. But certainly there's a lightening in that, and that always amazes me, because I do get the feedback on that someone feels lighter, or they've come to some acceptance of what's happened with that person, with the deceased. Sometimes, yes, I do hear them, and I do pick up the person that someone is wanting to have contact with. I can't say that always happens. It's something that's spontaneous in the moment, and that always brings a lot of relief to people. But it's important to know with this work, okay, it's transformative, but we do have appropriate emotions that we need to work through. So I wouldn't actually, if someone had lost a parent, or if they'd lost a child 6 weeks ago, I would work with them to allow them to release, but I wouldn't in any way try to take that away, because there's a need for them to go through that process. It's what we call emotion, energy in motion. The energy comes in, you feel the feeling, and you let it out. what emotion means. Emotion, energy in motion. So I'll enable someone to do that. Yeah.